Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special episode of the Godzilla Roundtable. Today is our Easter special, and I am joined by,
Ton here once again.
And Crash here, per usual.
and like a dumbass, I forgot to say who I am, Mulder, otherwise known as Faye. And on this episode, we are discussing the 1961 classic Mothra.
Ooh, Mothra. Finally, our first show film outside of the Godzilla ones, right?
Well, it
Like
depends. It depends on if you count Half Human.
half human. Okay, we can say the show of MonsterVerse, I guess.
Yeah, but I know I also like I wouldn't count King Kong Sleeps. I count that as like part of the King Kong stuff. So outside of Godzilla and
That's
Kong.
true. That's true. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Extended Godzilla show-verse. I don't fucking know. Whatever. This is show movie name's Count Mothra. So
All right, so Crash, what would you give Mothra out of 10?
uh definitely like a 7.5, I'd say. It was a lot of fun movie.
Oh, huh.
Yeah.
Ton.
That's a solid 7 out of 10 for me.
For me, it would be an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this one.
Nice.
I think for one, it was just a lot of fun to go back to the Showa movies.
Yeah,
It's been a long time, so it felt really comfy, if that
yeah.
makes sense. So it's like, oh yeah, the good old days. Just checking out Showa.
I feel like Showa movies are really relaxing for some reason.
I would say so too, because like they're not like heavily like I don't know violent. If that makes sense. They're really
Yeah,
chill to get into. They're just very like easy to watch. I would say.
yeah. I really can't wait to show like okay, let me not spoil my summer plans, but there's one which is so relaxing to me in such a weird way, and it's such a perfect summer movie. I'll tell you once we're done, but
Sounds good.
if anyone can guess it, feel free to try to guess what we're talking about. Anyways, Mothra was directed by Shiro Honda, as usual, and of course it had the returning Big Four, Tomi Kitaka producing it. Actually, no, wait. There's not the Big Four this time because it's missing Kira Fukube, but you have Eiji Tsuburaya doing special effects as well. This is a rare one where it's not done by Kira Fukube, music wise. The music in this one was done by Yuji Koseki.
Was
Right, right.
busy? I guess.
I imagine if Fukube was busy because I don't see why else. Or
Mhm.
they might have just thought that his style didn't fit the movie because this movie is very unique from the
Mhm.
other kaiju films in a lot of ways, which we'll get into. But before I
Yeah,
do that, what did you guys think of Ishiro Honda's direction this time around?
like I said, very comfy. It was nice going back to another Shiro Honda directed movie. Feels
Mhm.
like a lot of his classic Showa stuff. Very consistent, a lot of fun, well paced, very
Yeah,
enjoyable.
ton.
Yeah. Yeah, this is very much Honda's usual style, which is praise. Um it has that very fun vibe to it. This is definitely one
Hmm.
of its more kind of like for fun movies.
Yeah,
Lots of nice commentary there, but definitely just kind of good balance between like action and
hmm,
character moments that he's
yeah.
really good
I feel like Honda is such a consistent director in a good way. I feel like even the movies which he does, which aren't great, like Half Human, he always has a really good sense for visuals and how to make it look really good.
at.
And especially when you pair him up with a good script like here, that really melds together well, and you get a really good, consistent product from him. Well, I don't want to say but a very good, consistent style of art to how he does his films,
Hmm.
which
I
I'm
would
really
agree.
fond of. All right. Well, before we get into it more, something interesting about Matra is that Matra is not an original Toho creation. She was inspired by a short story, which is not common with the Toho stuff.
Yeah, it's real interesting how she's kind of grown beyond that to become. I don't think many people would even like be really aware of the fact that she was from a short story. She's
Yeah,
so ingrained with Toho and their monsters now. One of the big five.
yeah, and the original story was titled "The Luminous Fairies and Matra," and it was published
And
earlier. Yep, it was published earlier in 1961.
it's like when Godzilla was always like the second name in his titles for a while.
Yeah, that was really funny too because in the art of the book, Matra's a lot more horrifying looking than they
Yeah.
made her.
Wouldn't that explain like all like the American like packaging illustration where they think Mothra's like this disgusting creature, but like
I wonder if
so
that's
cute.
why. because
Maybe.
look at this stuff. She's so much scarier in the
Yeah,
book.
way creepy.
Oh, she looks like Megalon.
Yeah,
King.
Megalon. Who am I saying?
Megaguirus.
Megalon.
Mega Gears. That's what I was saying. Yeah, Mega Gears.
Mega whatever.
There's so many megas. Mega
But
Man.
it's just interesting to me how even though she started out as like from this book, she ended up becoming way more than that, and it's way more known for her film appearances.
hmm
Just a nice little background detail. And also, I feel like this is the first kaiju movie that's more fantastical than it is sci-fi based.
Yeah, I would say so. Okay, this movie, maybe it's just because we came off a lot of Kong movies, but it gave
Yeah,
us very big King Kong vibes. Just to start
yeah,
off with this uncharted island. No one's like really been there before as much.
hmm
They go there, they find weird, creepy stuff. Not as dangerous, but just that
yeah,
fantastical exploration vibe. But bringing something back that they shouldn't have, that ends up causing havoc to everything there.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
especially oh wait, go on, Tom.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it felt a lot more grounded, more kind of like King Kong style than Godzilla.
Yeah. And like it's interesting to me because like this is where it's like they don't really explain Mothra compared to other ones where it's like, oh, this is a awoken prehistoric animal, or oh, this is a mutated animal. Mothra just kind of exists, and she's very much implied to be some kind of mystical being rather than like a mutation or an ancient prehistoric animal. And it's definitely interesting because it really kind of set the tone for more fantasy stuff from Toho in that style later on.
Definitely be very important for a lot of stuff that would come later. It's interesting to see. And this movie too, it's also like Mothra is very different in her portrayal here than she is in, I'd say, any
Yeah,
other Godzilla movie.
which I think is a good lead and talk about the monsters because there's only
Yeah.
one in this movie, obviously.
Besides the humans. Mhm.
Yeah, but
Humanity is the monster.
we'll get to them because there's a lot to say with the humans here. So I guess it's good to start with Mantra because you're
Absolutely.
right. I was thinking about it, and there's only ever been two other appearances where Mantra's even slightly antagonistic like this. One is Destroy All Monsters, where she's mind controlled, so it's not really her fault.
Yeah.
And the other one is in Kingdom Monsters briefly when she first wakes up,
She's a little,
and that's it.
she woke up early. They woke up at her nap. She's a little mad. I'd be mad too.
But
But
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead, Crash.
Yeah, and this one, she's on her own volition attacking a bunch of cities, fucking them up trying to find her children. I guess the fairies,
Yeah,
you could say.
yeah,
It's cute how much she cares for them. Because I feel like a lot of the movies, obviously, it's always like the fairies looking out for Mothra. I
yeah,
think it's fun how in this one it's like Mothra herself is looking out for the fairies,
yeah.
going to save them.
The only other movie that kind of used that idea was Godzilla vs. Mothra in the '90s, the Heisei one.
hmm Yeah, so that it was really interesting to see because Mothra's usually very heroic, very majestic, but here she's just like fucking up a lot of things, causing storms,
Yeah,
destroying buildings, cocooning on Tokyo Tower. Not the first time it'll get fucked up in the show version. But yeah, it's really interesting seeing this because we don't really get much of this Mothra at all,
yeah.
really. So it was cool to see that for itself.
And also, I have to say, the special effects for Mothra in this one are really impressive. Like, I think this Mothra larva is the best looking one from the Showa era because this is the one that doesn't look disgusting.
Ew, Mothra looks gross. Yeah, this one I say this one looks good. I have to compare it to the other ones, but at first glance, yeah, I definitely like it. The design a lot. They're very similar, but the slight changes here make
Yeah.
it a little more appealing.
Also, to me, I feel like this is the most fluid Mothra moves in her adult form. I feel like
Yeah, the
even
wings look really nice, like the way
it,
they flapped.
yeah, like adult Mothra didn't show up that much in the show era. When you look at it, she only showed up in this one in Mothra versus Godzilla and Ibra. But I feel like she was the most fluid here than the other two.
hmm Yeah, I would say so. Like it's all in the way the wings move. Like they don't just flap at like one line, like at a 90-degree angle. They
Yeah,
like have little curves at the end of her wings when they're going up and down. It's really well done.
yeah. I like also special effects wise. While we're on the topic, the Shobijin just downsizing. It looks really good here as always. Like I feel like that's probably the thing that impresses me the most. Special effects because that's such a hard thing to do. I feel like, especially without CGI.
Really well. I mean, like
Yeah.
I said, I was really caught off guard by that fact in Mothra vs. Godzilla, and here it's done just as well. I would say it looks really good.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, the effects are really impressive here.
But do you have anything to say about Mothra in this one?
Yeah, Mothra was really great. I agree with you guys. I really loved her larva form. It was cute. The rampage scene was really cool. Mothra doesn't really get those in her later movies, so it's fun to see
Yeah.
her.
She's more mellow usually.
Yeah.
So it's nice to kind of see her going off. And then I really like her adult form in this. It's not quite as like dramatic as in um Mothra versus Godzilla,
Yeah.
but I do like how it still feels like huge, and she feels
Hmm.
really powerful, and she's just wrecking stuff.
Yeah. And there's what interests me also with this Mothra is there's some things here which just don't really come back later. Like using sound to attract her to places, like when at the end when they have to like get her attention, they use sound to drive her. And also the fact that her symbol is her name, I don't think that gets brought up again ever. Like her
No,
symbol comes
I don't think
back,
so.
but they never use it as oh that's Mothra's name just in the Infinite Island language. They don't really bring that back.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised about that. That's like an interesting, like, unique thing to her that they could have used. Like, I could easily imagine, like, in Destroy All Monsters, that could have been like a way they tried to get Mothra back or something.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It's weird because in the end, I mean, obviously the movie we saw afterwards weren't like hampered by the fact they didn't use this. But I think
yeah,
it could like add a little something to help tie her back to her original movie.
yeah.
But here it is interesting.
Though I did realize something interesting though. Speaking of stuff that came back later, I was kind of wondering if the reason why the fairies in the anime trilogy don't talk initially at first is because in the Mothra movie here, they don't talk at first either. They have to
Yeah,
learn the language.
they
I
let
wonder
little
if that
squeaks.
I wonder if that was inspired by this.
You know, maybe that's an interesting thing. Like, they had to learn the language first, obviously, just kind of
Yeah,
listening. They picked up pretty quick, though. I mean,
yeah.
people didn't live there at all. It's pretty fast, but yeah, that was an interesting aspect to it. And then one kind of funny thing in hindsight is like how in
Hmm.
this one they're like being exploited, like being used like for like live shows and stuff. But
Hmm.
then it's like I forget which one was it. It was after Mothra versus, but then it just like on like national news TV, just like casually talking about like Mothra and shit.
Well, well, they're probably getting paid for that. So I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe
I
they
know.
like.
It was just funny to me, like they're
Yeah, it
like, oh
is.
yeah, like now we're TV stars.
Maybe they like the taste of fame on their own merit.
Perhaps, yeah.
Charity to raise money for Mothra's
Innocent
destruction.
Island. Yeah, they gotta pay back
That too.
somehow. I do love how they were like, "Oh yeah, Mothra's gonna save us, but you guys might get hurt, by the way. Sorry about that."
It's really funny to me because they're like, "Oh yeah, Mothra's coming for us. You better run." And they're like, "Wait,
We
what? You
can't
can't stop it?" And they're like, "Oh no, Mothra's too much of a one-track mind. We can't convince her otherwise." And then it cuts to Mothra fucking slamming through a boat.
I know, just destroying everything. She's pretty vicious in this. That's why you don't mess with the fairies, even though they do mess with the fairies a lot in the future, and that
Yeah.
does not end well.
Oh man. But yeah, I guess that's a good lead into the human stuff. And I think we might as well do the same Kong style because I wasn't expecting it.
Okay, yeah. This is a lead-in from the Kong series. If you're familiar with our racism category, classic. We didn't we did not expect this to happen in this one. I don't know. I was like natives, like that's a Kong thing, right? No one's a racist, but no, they were racist here.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, Ugh.
yeah. Ton, do you want to headline us again, like in
Sure.
Kong?
Once again, we must roll out the racism chart, but instead of the Kong racism chart, it's the Mothra
Mothra racist.
chart, which admittedly is a very small chart, but still. Yeah. So natives show up in this movie on Infant Island, and these Infant Islanders are played by Japanese actors in blackface. Like these actors are clearly wearing like brown makeup to make their skin look darker, which
At
Yeah,
first, I thought it was the lighting, but then it was like, oh wait, no. They walk into the light, I was like, oh no, they're just wearing brown face.
yeah,
Bruh.
yeah. Mhm. And while some of the other Showa Erotoa movies had kind of like darker skin makeup, it's way more dramatic in this movie.
yeah.
Like it's not full on minstrel show, but it's a lot more obvious and kind of awkward.
And it's a shame too because I think this movie actually, unlike the Kong films, is very much about like that and taking advantage of the natives and like being like awful to them. Because what like Nelson does here to the natives, it's not shown as good. It's meant to be really fucked up what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just really exploiting the fairies and such, and what he found on this island after going there and massacring a lot of them.
Yeah. Which is why I really like the bit where right before he gets shot by the cops, he's like hallucinating the natives he killed.
Yeah.
Like Like it's definitely meant to be a bad thing that he did. So it's obviously like the natives are meant to be people who were just taken advantage of and unfairly treated.
Yeah.
But it
It's a,
hampers oh go
it
ahead.
kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if it's just like ignorance or something, because the
Hmm.
one I don't think there was any kind of like intentional attempt at like trying to be like a piece of shit. I think they might have just been like, oh yeah, she's brown face, like what's the big deal?
Yeah, I think so too. Because especially during that time. And then with that, it was like, oh, we don't have anyone in this skin. Okay, we'll just get extras and put this on them, and
Yeah,
that's
like, it's
it.
not malicious.
But
That's the word. It's not malicious, but it's not good.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, and it hasn't aged well, especially compared to Mothra versus Godzilla and even Ibra. I feel like there
Mhm.
it's not as overt any like
Yeah,
darkening they do. Here it's like full on blackface in a lot of scenes. It's weird too because they didn't do that for the Shobajin,
yeah.
the
That's the
fairies.
thing. I'm pretty sure we acknowledged another one too. It's really weird because like clearly the fairies. I don't know if they're just like, nah, we don't want to do that.
Hmm.
But but I'm talking like the peanuts. But like it's just
Yeah,
weird that they wouldn't like do that consistency. I don't know. It just feels strange. But
yeah.
yeah, the the scene with the natives though getting killed, it was really dang to me. I know like they were just walking and getting shot. I know you're like obviously don't know what a gun is, but it was really dang to me. Like the guy got shot, they're like, no, we'll just keep pressing forward. Like we got this. The next guy will get it. And then they get shot.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, to get into the other characters, the main it's kind of interesting trend to pick which character is the main character. So I'll just
I
go
wouldn't say
through
no, honestly.
like the like
Sure.
the four big characters. And I start off with Zenichiro Fukuda, Frankie Sakai, who was the main reporter guy in the movie. He's a really funny character. I really enjoyed him a lot.
Well, we see Fukuda, right? That's his name.
Yeah, Fukuda, that's his
Okay.
name.
Yeah, I recognized it because like June Fukuda. I was like, oh yeah. But yeah, he's really fun. He had a lot of charisma. He was a really funny character to have around.
Yeah.
And I thought he would just be like a super jokey character, but he
Hmm.
was an actual like legitimate character. I liked him a
Yeah.
lot. Just a little more like silly kind of. I
Yeah,
guess that makes
because
sense.
Frankie Sakai was a really big comedic actor at the time, so he was
That
kind of
makes sense.
like a big name star to have. But they play him a lot more seriously than you'd expect based on what he was
Yeah,
doing beforehand.
which
It's
is pleasantly
also
surprised.
yeah, it's also really funny to me though. I love the bit where he takes on the four guys by himself and wins
And
because it's
that's,
so
that's
because
what I was
it's
like, this
so
is the best
unexpected.
show fight scene of all time. It was really funny how
It
he did
is.
that. The guy was like trying to pull him off the staircase while he was holding on. It was it was like one shot. It was really well done. But
Yeah,
it was a cool scene.
done.
A dying art form in show or film.
Yeah, done.
yeah, I really liked Zen. Frankie Sakai does a really good job acting here. Like you kind of expect. It was kind of cool, fun to have. Like he's kind of like the comic relief of the movie, but he's still very much kind of like a serious part of the plot.
Hmm.
It was kind of nice to have like. Uh, sorry, sorry, history. It's nice not to have like an unconventionally not attractive protagonist for one of these movies.
Hmm.
Where he's not like some square jawed, handsome Japanese man. It's like he's kind of a more round guy. It was fun.
And the female lead and the only really main female character in this movie beyond the Shobijin is Kyoko Kagawa's Michi Hanamura, who was the photographer. I think she's alright. I don't think she gets as much as the other characters here, especially compared to other female characters in the Showa films. I think she does her part well enough here. I think she might be the first female journalist character in these movies, but I might be wrong.
Maybe it's pretty early on. This was before
Yeah,
like Godzilla even came back. Yeah,
yeah.
well, besides Raids again, but yeah, yeah, that was a movie. She was also like once again, it was really cool to see that kind of archetype in its early forms here. So I like the character too. I don't think there's any like bad characters in the movie, but more just like
hmm
whatever, kind of like forgettable, I guess. But
Yeah,
I feel like she didn't get as much screen time as she could have.
yeah.
She wasn't really as part of the main group as often. I felt,
hmm
but I liked her presence. It was
Yeah.
cool.
Ton, do you have anything to say about her, or are you good?
Oh yeah, I agree with Crash. And you she doesn't really have a lot. She's kind of really very much a side character. Will's nice
Yeah.
to have like a not the usual kind of female side character
hmm
in this time. So that was good.
Yeah. Oh, and before I move on, Crash, I looked. Remember the guy who you wanted to know if that was Rosawa's actor in the
Yes,
beginning? That was him. You got it right.
I knew. I recognize his face, like one of the scientists. I love how he just shows up in a bunch of the show or films.
Yeah.
Oliver
He was.
Cognac is always fun to see.
It's kind of interesting to me how much him and Akira Takarada showed up, but then Emiko's actress kind of dipped
Did
after
she
Half Human.
retire?
It was a mix of retiring and the fact that for a while she didn't like that she got typecast as like a kaiju film actress, she said, because she said she would get kids on the streets yelling Godzilla at her and it really annoyed her. So she retired from that for a while.
Yeah, that sucks. Oh,
Plus she also
Godzilla.
converted to Catholicism and she devoted more of her time to Catholic charity stuff for a while, she said.
Interesting. Hmm.
But
Interesting.
I'm glad she came back for Destroyer though, because that
Yeah,
was a
that was a
nice
really
send up
nice
for her.
like cameo to tie everything together. Yeah.
hmm
That's cool. I mean, no, I think we see this a lot of actors. Sometimes like they'll start
Yeah,
off, they'll be something super popular, and they're just kind of like on their own terms. You're like, like I'm not really interested in that anymore.
yeah,
It would have been cool to see her. It's a shame she didn't show up more often, but obviously that's what she wanted to do. That's how
yeah.
it is.
But yeah, continuing on, speaking of actors who came back later on after their initial film role, we have Hiroshi Koizumi as Dr. Shinichi Chujo, who was really fun to me because Crash, you knew him first in Tokyo SOS, and then you finally got what he was coming back for.
That was really cool to see because yeah, obviously Tokyo SOS. I was like, but I like the fact that they tied back to like another OG show or film like that.
hmm
So getting to see him in his initial appearance like that, and his first experience with Mothra, first ever
Yeah,
experience, was really cool to see, and I like this character. He kind of starts off, it's like a recluse kind of. He's just kind of like
yeah,
trying to like not get involved, and then they tell him to shave his beard. But yeah, he was a cool character, super important. Hey, he has like a big connection with the fairies, which is always really cool to see. I feel like in like a lot of the other movies, no characters really kind of as often get that like close connection with the fairies as much
yeah,
because he saved their lives and they come back and save him. So that
yeah,
dynamic was really awesome to see here with Chujo. And I think it helps make his like reunion in Tokyo SOS a lot more impactful.
yeah. I'm curious how I'll feel about his stuff in Tokyo SOS now that I have a better idea of
Yeah,
Mantra, because this was my first time watching Mantra in full as well. So I'm curious how I'll feel if whenever I rewatch Tokyo
yeah,
SOS on that element with him.
yeah,
Even though he was definitely always the coolest part of that movie,
for sure.
honestly.
Might make those scenes better, more better.
Yeah. Though, like you said, he's really fun. I like how he's not the typical male protagonist either, because he's a recluse, he's more shy, and there's no romance arc with him
Mhm.
in it, and the female main character too, which is nice.
Yeah, it's a really interesting change of pace. I like it.
hmm Ton, do you have anything to say about Chujo?
Yeah, I I agree with you guys. He's a nice unconventional protagonist. Um, Hiroshi Kozumi's acting is really good as him. And I like the kind of the dynamic him and Zen had with each other.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Being kind of a straight man to his antics. That was fun.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a really nice dynamic like as well. Add a lot of like well needed kind of like levity to some of the scenes later on. It was nice.
yeah. Okay, the final main character, who we've talked about a little bit before, is Clark Nelson, played by Jerry Ito, who I just found out looking into this. Jerry Ito was a mixed Japanese American, which I think is really cool.
I think I can I feel like I figured that I was watching because his English was really good and really
Yeah,
natural. Why are they going to do that for shit Godzilla? But yeah,
I know, right? Like back here. Toho got in fucking 1961 cast a Japanese American, and you'll get perfect Japanese and English. Funny how that works. But anyways,
Yeah,
Jerry Ito does such a good job as Nelson because he's such a slimy asshole, but it fits so
love
perfectly.
him. Very scummy, very evil. He goes there, he kills natives. Wow, what a bastard! And then he steals the fairies and then continues to exploit them. And then when he's about to get caught, he just fucking leaves the country with his little posse. He's so slimy. He's such a great
Yeah,
villain here. I love him.
even after like Tokyo's getting fucking smashed by Mothra, and Newkirk City, which is like some city,
Oh, oh yeah,
is being
yeah.
destroyed.
Oh,
Is being destroyed by Mothra. He just doesn't care. And like when he gets out, he fucking kills a cop too
I know.
as he's trying to get away.
I was kind of surprised he was going nuts because they were all
Yeah,
like hounding him. They're like, "Nelson, we found you. Get out of the car." He's like, "You know what? Die." But,
and then he
yeah,
got shot down.
then he fucking died. Like, damn,
Yeah.
pretty shot down too. Like I was kind of surprised about that. But yeah, he's I think one of the best parts, one of the best human characters of this movie. He is so slimy but so fun to watch on screen. I think, and he's such an evil bastard. And the little crew who like of yes men, they always follow him around.
Hmm.
They even kidnap a kid. Not
I know
kidnap.
her.
They tie him up and hide him under a
Yeah.
chair. So I was
They're
like, damn.
such assholes, and it's really funny to me. Like they're so terrible. But yeah, Ton, do you have anything to say about Nelson?
Yeah, Nelson's like you guys said, Jerry Ito does a really good job acting him. He really feels like someone kind of like of like a mixed heritage, and Nelson's just a really fun antagonist. Like all the antagonists were really fun. They're kind of bumbling villains, but still like really very threatening, but in
Yeah.
like a not too grim way.
Hmm.
So it's, so they have a lot of really good moments, and it adds a bit of like slapstick to this.
I would
Yeah.
agree. It's done really well.
Okay, something really funny which I just found out. Do you guys remember the what do you call the other professor who was from Nelson's home country who went with them on the expedition?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what role he would later end up playing in the Godzilla films? Because apparently he ended up doing a lot of these kaiju movies because he lived in Japan as like a marine.
Oh
Mhm.
no, what's that?
He was the fucking Cetopian guy, the Cetopian emperor.
Wait, the main really? That was
Yes, yeah.
that's
Oh my
hilarious.
god!
So
Yeah.
after after the events of Mothra, he went underground and found an entire civilization.
Oh wait, wait. He wasn't the scientist guy. He was the police chief. That's
Okay.
really
Oh,
funny to me.
Yeah, the older man looking guy, right? I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really funny.
and he also was a U.S. Navy pilot in King Kong versus Godzilla, and he was in another
Same character.
and he was in another Toho monster movie called Dagora, which we'll get to eventually.
It's all the same character. He was just running around living
But
different
that's
lives.
just really funny to me that he was in those.
That's why he hated Godzilla because in King Kong he almost died. All makes sense.
it all comes together.
That's really funny though, and it kind of shows like often they were like, "Hey, you speak English, right? Come into our movie, please."
Last thing what they would do is they would directly put out flyers for casting calls in U.S. military bases, and that's where they'd get a lot of those
That makes
actors.
sense. It's really funny. It's funny because a lot of times it's either like they do it really well, or it's really like you can tell they were just like right off the street.
Yeah,
It always depends.
it's really funny, and I love it. All right, is there any other human characters anyone would want to talk about, or should we move on to
Um,
the themes of the movie?
um, there's that one guy in Nelson's posse that spoke English.
Yeah,
But it makes sense because Nelson also understands English. So I was like,
yeah.
but I wonder if he understood Japanese. I guess so.
I,
But I don't know.
I think it's kind of interesting that Nelson's posse was a mix of Japanese people and native Roselicans that he brought with
Yeah,
him.
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
real skin, real skin. That's so cool. We gotta talk about that next. I don't think there's any other human characters to talk
Yeah,
about. I mean, the fairies count. Should
I
we talk?
mean, yeah, sure. If you want to talk about them more,
Okay, yeah. Obviously, this is cool. Into the fairies first, like ever interpretation of Mothra, with the peanuts who come back like three
yep,
times, which is cool to
yeah,
see.
yeah.
And
They
here,
came back in Montraverse and they came back in Ghidorah, so they came back two
yeah.
more times.
They have a different outfit, and they put their hair down.
Yeah.
I like the designs they have in each movie. But one thing I found really funny, I mentioned since we were watching, was when they're on the live shows, they have a completely new outfit, and I was like, that implies that there's like a tailor who makes tiny clothes for these girls, really tiny outfits for them. I think that's really funny. But yeah, that's on the fairs. It's cool to see them.
Mhm.
The flying chariot. But yeah, I guess what do you want to go over now? I guess we can go over. Okay, can we talk about fucking what's it called? Tom, do you remember that name?
Uh, oh yeah, the country of Roselica? No.
It's
Oh,
like Reliskin or something. I don't know. It was a really weird name. It's a really
oh,
weird like bootleg ass fucking
Yeah, yeah,
country.
Roselica. It was just really
Roselle.
funny, really funny to me because it's so obviously meant to be America, and I'm just surprised they didn't make it overt because they're usually not that subtle, really, with it.
I know. So here it's just like yeah, like Reliskin. I can't pronounce it. So
Newkirk City.
New Kirk City. And so I said the canon is that Mothra just completely decimates it and destroys it. And that's why he never comes back.
I mean, that'll make as much sense as anything as why it didn't come back. It's really funny too because their flag is so obviously meant to be like the American flag, and like the culture and like styles
Yeah. It's
and
just America.
names are so American. What's interesting though, because I feel like the themes of the movie are really strong and present. Like a lot of the movie's themes are about how natives are mistreated, like the fact that they tried to cover up there was natives on Infant Island
Hmm.
after they nuked it, which
Yeah.
is really similar. And Ton, if you want to chime in here because you're our history guy, how America would take advantage of native populations in the Pacific for their nuclear tests.
Yeah, during like the Cold War, before surface testing of nuclear weapons were banned, the U.S. Because of World War II, had a lot of territories that they occupied, so we would just test nuclear weapons in the ocean, and the kind of thought process was, oh, we're testing out in the middle of nowhere. We're not going to hurt everybody. We're not going to hurt anybody, ignoring the
Hmm.
fact that there are tons of people living in the
Yeah,
Pacific. So a lot of people got sick from radiation and
and,
all
and
that.
and and that's not even also mention the fact that when they were testing islands, like Bikini Atoll was populated, and America was like, everybody get the fuck out and move, which is really fucked up.
Yeah. So there was a nice bit of commentary about that kind of stuff in this movie. Like
Yeah,
it's not subtle at all, but Honda wasn't really as subtle when it came to themes, and it works here. It's really good.
yeah.
Mhm.
There's also the fact that something which I find interesting too, though, is also there's a lot of religious imagery in this film too, like the cross, which is not seen a lot in Japanese stuff at this point because Christianity was still fairly new to Japan by this point after it was banned for centuries.
Mhm.
And I have to wonder how much of
That's
that
interesting.
is E.G. Subaraya because he was a Catholic, like a staunch Catholic. So
Interesting.
I'm curious if
I
that
think
was from his
yeah,
influence. But go on, Crash.
yeah, so say maybe they might have used that to help bring a more like I guess kind of like rich element to Mothra's like kind of lore or
Yeah,
history and stuff. I imagine because I feel like just those that kind of like symbolism helps give that feeling of like this is ancient civilization. And it's kind of like an older. There's a lot of history there, I guess, and like more like fantastical stuff as well.
yeah. There's definitely a lot of history stuff. With Mothra, like also really funny though is some of the outdated science, like with Polynesia being one big landmass.
Yeah.
That is not accepted anymore.
I know. But yeah, and I think it's all done really well, like the symbolism,
Hmm.
imagery stuff. They use
Yeah,
it well. It's not like just kind of there just because they
yeah.
use like like the benefit of Infant Island and Mothra and such.
Hmm. But go on, Ton.
Oh, I wasn't saying.
Oh, okay, I want to be sure. All right. Wow, this is very short by our standards for Showa films. Any other topics anybody has in mind to talk about?
Yeah. Did they say Skull Island in this movie? They did not. I'm just kidding. That's not the same series. Yeah, but this one's an interesting one. It's more low key, shorter one. This was before the show or like movie MonsterVerse has even been really established as much because this is when all the
Yeah,
Showa films were coming out. So there was no like Yeah, Godzilla was dormant at this point too. Godzilla vs King Kong hadn't come out, so it was interesting and cool to see them come up with a quotation mark original monster to put on
Yeah.
here. And I think it's really done well. It's a really fun intro for Mothra
Mhm.
too.
Yeah, well,
And
this is one of the first original Toho monsters. Well, original quote unquote because it's
yeah,
like you were saying, it's an adaptation. But like though, if you think about it, this was only after like Rodan and Varan. She was the third per se in terms of non-Godzilla solo one, so it's really funny.
hmm yeah, and it's very classic Showa. I really like that about it. And everything within, and it's interesting here to see Infant Island in its prime because I don't think we really get to see that much afterwards. Obviously, because it gets fucking heated, blown up.
Yeah,
But we do get Skeleturtle. But so it was cool to come back and get to see the history behind it, which I think will also help give more impact to Mothra versus where we see it's been decimated by that point, and the Infinite Islanders are very bitter
yeah,
about all of the stuff the humans have done to them, which makes sense because considering what happened in this movie and what will happen after that too.
yeah. Poor Infant Island. It just kind of makes the ending bittersweet because you're like, yes, we'll leave Infant Island alone, and then you find out in like the very next Mothra movie, Mothra
Oh
vs
no,
Godzilla. Oh no, actually, America nuked it, or well, what we presume to be America.
it could be Roselica. I don't know.
Roselica doing it again.
Roselica. They came back for one last like bitch move, I guess.
Roselica back at it again.
That's like one thing I wonder if they ever will reference again, like just that weird country they made up. That'd
Yeah,
be really funny. Like at a UN conference, or just like the flag in the background or something. That'd be really funny to see.
Roselica and Seradia.
exactly coming together once and for all. I
But
love
yeah,
like the like jank countries that they make up. It's always really funny.
well, it reminds me of like Marvel countries and stuff like that too, or like DC countries like Kondak or like fucking Sokovia.
Sokovia, Latveria. It's funny, yeah. I don't know, but just it's funny because in Godzilla, like they're just like it's pretty clear what it's supposed to be. They're just like
Yeah,
we want to make it this, but we're not going to use that because I don't know if there's like
yeah.
out of fear or something or respect, but it's like yeah, Realistica, not America. I swear.
But yeah, I think now's a good time to close this out.
yeah.
Crash. Do you want to give your closing thoughts on Mothra?
Yes. I would say if you like any show or movie at all, you definitely enjoy this. It's fun. It feels like show. It's classic. Again, to the origins of one of the biggest Toho monsters. It's a lot of fun, and I think really cool. It'll help you appreciate her a lot more. So I would easily recommend this if you like any of the show era movies.
Mm-hmm. Tom.
Yeah, dude, Crash. It's a solid show movie. You can't go wrong with a Honda movie, honestly. It's fun, it's, straightforward. It's easy to get into.
Mm-hmm.
And the effects are really good. Like, I, I can't really say if it's better. It's not better than Godzilla or anything really that compare. It's just another part of the process. It's fun to see like where Mothra comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely recommend it. It's really fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy Mothra. I think it's one of the best solo ventures. It's a really unique a show movie too, and it really set up a lot of stuff going forward. And introduced one of the most important aspects of the Godzilla mythos, Mothra. So I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it. It's really enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, go check it out. All right, this has been our Easter special. Happy. I hope everyone has a happy and safe holiday, no matter what you celebrate around this time of year. Thank you for listening, and have an enjoy.